Okay, we are back now for session 2 of chapter 1. And we're going to look at 3 important concepts here. The first thing we're going to talk about is purpose, and then truth, and then change. And once we're finished with those concepts, we're going to go on to a few more pages. I do want to tell you that at the end of this chapter, I'm going to review some things for you because there are some things I want you to actually think about as we go through this, okay? Okay, so purpose, truth, and change. Purpose is really important, as you know, because this is one of the things that we've been talking about. And purpose is really different from selfish ambition. Purpose is designed to develop yourself, to invest in yourself, so that you can grow and have enough for you and others. And it also solves a social problem. Now, the counterfeit to that is selfish ambition. And most people, I think 99% of the people actually fall into that category. Selfish ambition says it's for me. And in fact, selfish ambition will say, I don't care who I have to step on in order to achieve my goals. I'm going to achieve my goals. And some people even use phraseology that's a little surprising. They'll say, okay, what I'm going to do is this is my purpose in life. I'm going to achieve it. And if you get in my way, that's your problem. Okay, well, that's selfish ambition. People sometimes start off with going towards their purpose, like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to be a teacher, and I want to really invest in people's lives. I want to see people grow. And then they kind of get derailed a little bit and they get sidetracked, and suddenly they're about for themselves. I don't care about what you're doing. And it ends up getting really weird. And in some cases, it gets really painful. And so purpose helps me to grow, and purpose actually gives me the will to live. And so we're going to see the difference between the two. Truth is very interesting because truth has a couple of features to it that are fascinating to me. And it's really important for you to think about this because sometimes we have the wrong idea about what truth is. Sometimes we think our version of what we see is the truth. But I'm going to give you some qualities of the truth that no matter what your version is, if they fall within these qualities, you know you're in the truth, okay? And then we're going to talk about its counterfeit. So truth will empower you. It will give you direction. It will give you guidance. It will, I think I said empower you already. It will illuminate your path, and it's about freedom. And so if you are looking at something and it's different from what somebody else is looking at, and you have 2 different versions or opinions about it, if they fall within those descriptions that I just gave you, then it's likely within the truth. And I'm going to give you an experience, or let me give you an illustration rather what this is. Okay, so here's my cell phone, okay? So what do you see? And so you would describe some of the things that you see on this cell phone. You would say, okay, it has a blue background, it's got, applications on it, I see snowflakes, I see Facebook thing or whatever. And so you're gonna describe the front of this for me, okay? But where I'm standing, that's not what I see. I see this. This is what I see, the back of the cell phone. And so despite the fact, though, that you see this and I see this, what is it? It's still a cell phone. It still functions like a cell phone. And so my perspective is different than your perspective. But as long as we understand, wow, you see things differently, but it still functions as a cell phone, that's like what truth is. So if it empowers you, if it teaches you, if it gives you direction, and it's about freedom, these 4 main things, and guidance, you can add a 15th thing to it, and you write that down by truth, you realize, wow, okay, it may be an opinion that I have about something, and somebody doesn't share that opinion, but if it falls within those 4 elements of what truth is, then I'm probably within the truth, and that's important. Facts, on the other hand, are counterfeits to the truth, because facts are situational and they narrate circumstances or events. So when you're looking at the truth, truth is giving you a different perspective on how to look at your life. The facts might say you can't keep a job, maybe you've been married a few times, maybe you have children without being married, maybe you didn't get an education, maybe you've had problems and you've ended up on public assistance, maybe you've been in jail. It could be a number of different things. Maybe there was a public scandal about you. It could be just anything. Those are actually describing facts about your life, but it doesn't describe who you are. Those are events and situations. The truth has a very different view of you, because the truth says, I want to empower you, I want to teach you, I want you to grow, I want you to be about freedom, I want you to be free to pursue your purpose. Because regardless of what the facts are saying about you, you're not disqualified from your purpose. So it's important for us to be clear on a couple of these concepts before we make judgment calls about ourselves or other people. Now, here's the exciting thing about understanding our purpose and what purpose does, and making sure we're not in selfish ambition, and understanding how powerful truth is, and that we're not stranded in facts. Okay, we don't want that to be our language. Something natural takes place, change. Because everyone's afraid to change. I mean, I'm afraid to change and I teach about it, okay? That's what I teach, is change. And so it's important for you to know that you're normal if you're afraid of change, because when we think about change, the very first thing we think of is loss. We think, what am I going to have to give up? And so I want you to look at change differently than giving up. I want you to look at change as something that's coming to you. And so again, we're making some adjustments in how we're thinking about some of these words so that we can be singing from the same sheet of music. I want to make sure that we all understand that purpose is what we're seeking, not selfish ambition. We want to marry it with truth, so we're having a different perspective of us. Truth is telling us a different story than the facts are, so that we can naturally say, oh, I'm so glad, because now I'm positioning myself for change. Because without change, we cannot have growth. And purpose is all about growth, because it's about maturity. And that's where we want to go. Just because we're older than we used to be doesn't mean we've achieved maturity, especially if what we've learned has not served us well. So we want to just kind of adjust some of these small words to help us to understand where we're going with this, okay? Now, what two things do you need to achieve your purpose? And I'm going to let you again, you're going to complete this, and then once you're finished with this, then you can come back to the video, or after I go over all this information over the next couple of pages, then you can shut the video off and then come back to these pages, okay? So there's actually two things that you need in order to achieve your purpose: healthy relationships and education, and I want to talk about these first. Healthy relationships always bring out the best in you. And oh my gosh, wait till you get to the healthy relationships piece of this core purpose, this program. You're gonna love it. It will change your world, honestly. It will make everything so clear. You're gonna wish you knew this when you were 15 years old. The second thing it does is that healthy relationships open doors of opportunity to you. And so this gives you a chance now just to kind of warm up to the idea about thinking about what kind of people have been in your life. Do you have healthy relationships? Are they bringing out the best in you, or are they kind of keeping you down? Are they saying, no, I don't, I want you to really excel, I want you to do well, or are they not wanting you to do any better than they are? Okay, we're going to talk about that later, but these are just some ideas for you to start thinking about. Now, education it's about changing how we look at life, and it expands the way we think. And so some people think that you go to college or finish high school or go to graduate school just so that you can get a better paying job. And yes, statistically, people who have higher education do tend to make more money. That's just the way it is. But on the other hand, not everybody's cut out to go to college. And so when we're talking about education, we're talking about formal and informal. Formal being actually taking an academic trajectory, or informal where you're doing a lot of self-study and you're with people who are helping you learn a skill. And so Education will also teach you a specific skill. And so let's say you want to do something like welding. Well, you're going to need somebody to help you learn to do that, and then you have to get certifications to become a welder. And so there is education involved with that skill. On the other hand, there are people that want to go on and get their PhD or become a doctor, and so that requires a different kind of education in terms of length of time and commitment. And so what we're saying is that you can't sit down in front of the television and just watch your soap operas and say, I'm getting plenty of education from watching what these people are doing. That's just not going to cut it. You have to look at your gifts and your talents, and this is when I want you to start thinking about that. Okay, start thinking about what you're naturally gifted at. Now, what if you say, I don't know what my natural gifts and talents are? These are where healthy relationships come in. And this is where people that you trust, you can go to and say, okay, so tell me, what am I good at? And they may say, hey, actually, I've noticed that you're really good at doing this particular thing. Maybe you're a great coupon person and you can really, you're like a genius at it. And you spend almost no money at all each month on your grocery bill because you know how to do coupons. And you're really good at it. And there may be some other things that you're really good at, maybe music, maybe psychology, maybe any of these things, and that you're like, I'm really good at it, but I just don't know what to do with it. Make sure you're writing these down, because these are things we're going to talk about, and it's important for you to already have them in your mind. So I want you to go over this page, and I want you to remember that all of this is bringing us towards something that's an achievement, and that's change. And so change is a process. It's growth. It's measured by the impact on me and those around me. It's purpose-driven and heart-grown. It's faith-built. It's awkward at first, but then becomes the muscle of maturity. It's never wasted on those who learn from it, is the door of choice and opportunity, will show others who I really am. It seeks a better way of life, and it's up to me. And so it's important, especially for a couple of these things. As you read through this list, I want you to think about these, like maybe you have a favorite one, like, wow, actually that really speaks to me. It's never wasted on those who learn from it. And so even if you're making mistakes along the way, as long as you have the view in your head and in your mind, this is the direction I'm going, it will be a better day, because I'm investing and I'm allowing myself to change and I'm allowing myself to grow. Because, you know, change is inevitable. We're going to talk about this. Change is inevitable. Growth is optional. And so have you ever met somebody who's in their 30s and you think, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this person is talking to me in public, because I feel like they're still 12 years old. It's because they've allowed life to still happen. That person has changed in terms of physical body has changed. It's continuing to develop, continues to age. Maybe they've, you know, have a different job, they drive a car, whatever the deal is, they've advanced from when they were children, but you can see that there's very little growth that's taken place within their life, okay? And so what I want you to conclude with is I want you to remember that we are working to grow and working to discover what our purpose is and what our purpose actually is. So let's go ahead and we will conclude with this session. And tomorrow or later on today, when you finish those pages, I want you to click back on and let's go ahead and we will hit the next session.